Hi everyone, so today we're looking at a very simple tutorial for what they call a lattice card. So it looks a little bit like a ladder. I've seen lots of tutorials, but I'm sure this will be the easiest one that you'll ever try. So here's another one. It really doesn't matter whether we do blocks, and hold that there, blocks at the top, the bottom, this one's just at the top. We're going to look at different ways of doing it, but it is so simple. Okay, so what I've collected together is a 6-inch or a 15cm card, square card, a piece of acetate, which is the same size at the moment. I've got some pieces of backing paper, and I've gone for a couple of colours, and I've got a couple of bits of decoupage that were in my craft stash, and a greeting. So you can do it with anything that you've got lying around. So we're going to take a card to begin with, and we're going to open it out and take our trimmer. Okay. And all I'm going to do is get that bit out of the way. I have measurements both sides of my trimmer, so I'm going to look at this side, and I'm going to work in centimetres, and you can work in a centimetre or a ½ inch. So I'm going to do a centimetre, place my card up there. Let's just check that didn't move. There, and I'm going to go 1, push it out the way, push it out the way, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to do 8, 6, 7, and 8. So I have 8 1cm strips that are the same width as my card. Okay, now I need to decide what is going to be the main focus on my front of my card. If I did this one, I want to cut this down a little bit so I've got a block at the top. If I want to do this one, then I'd cut it in half and have this half down the bottom. So I think I'm going to go with one piece at the top. So I'm going to place this, and I think I'm going to go for 4 centimetres. You can make it any size you want. That is the front of our card. Put that aside now, and the next thing I'm going to do is to fit my acetate onto the card. So I want a piece of acetate that's the same size of my card. So there we go. Open that out, and I want to put a couple of strips of tape. So one that's close to the crease there, and one that is not quite down to the end of my card, because I want to be able to tuck something underneath. Okay, so 2 strips, take the covering off, line up the acetate, and simply close that down on the top. Now I can just get a little bit tucked underneath there. I've got a tiny bit that I need to trim off there. Okay, so now we're going to look at our strips, and one of the handiest things that you'll have doing this card is one of my little clips. So I always have these little clips hanging around. There we go. And the first one I need to do is I need to put a strip along the bottom. So that's going to go on there. Okay. Yeah, I needed a thinner tape. So there we go. So I'm going to go along the bottom. And line this up exactly with the base. I can see I've got a tiny bit of acetate over at the bottom, so I'm going to trim that off. So I haven't given you measurements, go with what you've got. So now I have this piece here. Right, I'm going to take one of my strips, place it next to it, line it up and put my little clip on there. Put it down. You can put one the other side if you want to. There we go. Right, then I'm going to prepare my next strip. So this one is just a spacer that we're using. Take my next one, place it up against that and stick it down. Then I can remove the spacer. Move the spacer up . And prepare the next one. I have to be careful with this one because it's got a texture to my card, so I always must check that my texture will be facing upwards. Place the next one on, butt up against the spacer and across. Take the spacer out and move it up. Looks a little bit bigger. That's fine. Turn it over. Say, I know we won't use 8 strips, but we might use them on another card, which will be my next tutorial. There you go. Fit that one into there. We can go back and trim these in a minute if we need to. Right, now, okay, I'm going to, I think, put one of my slightly smaller ones in there, and I'm just going to even it up. So just by eye, first two I did worked absolutely brilliantly, but I want you to be able to make the borders exactly what you want them to be and know how to adjust. So on this one I'm going a little way up. There we go. So now I've got a nice ladder. Okay, anything that comes over I just trim. There we go. How's that? Now this one I had 4 centimetres. So I'm going to take a piece of my backing paper and I'm going to do 3.5 centimetres. And I'm going to place that there. I'm going to take a smidgen off so I've got a white border. So there's no strict measurements, just adjust your sizing. So I've just made this 1/2 centimetre smaller, or if you're working in inches, just 1/4 inch smaller all the way round. So that's that bit. Now I'm going to take this bit here. Again, I'm not measuring. I'm going to put a strip tape across there, one across the bottom and one through the middle. Take all my tape off. You can use wet glue, it's fine. Now I'm going to take my paper, I'm going to put it face down against the crease, and then I'm just going to flop this down over it. And I've now got my piece of paper in there with no little buckles or anything. I'm going to turn it over to the back and trim off any excess. This way you've got no worries about measuring it accurately. Just take off any overhang. Our card is lined beautifully. Here is our lattice, and we're going to see what we've got here. I've got some pieces of dark backing paper. I don't think I shall use that. I've got a couple of pieces here, and I've got a simple greeting just for you on your special day. Now you can make the greeting float in the air if you want to place it onto there, right? Or I'm going to put mine up on that piece. So a piece of tape across, you can put sticky fixers, just use what you have. Right, so there is that. I'm going to take this one. And I think my biggest one I'm going to curve around the bottom. And I think I'm going for one to come across the top there. Okay. So it makes a lovely card, and all you've really used is a 6-inch or a 15 centimetre square card and a few little bits of paper and decoration from your stash. Now I'm going to go and prepare another one of these. I'll use half an inch for my next one, and I want to show you where you can use some of the extra bits that you've cut off. Right, so I've gone ahead now and I've cut my half-inch strips for those that like working in imperial. But this one now, I was left with 3 inches and I've cut 2 strips of 1.5. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put this ready to place on there. Now, before I do any more, I'm going to put 2 strips to come down the side. If we look at this one here, I've done strips across, but I've anchored them with 2 strips going down. If I open that, it shows up a little bit more. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to use my strips as guidelines, and I'm going to attach 1 strip down the side. Let's take that off for the moment. I want 2 pieces prepared. So I'm going to take my first piece. If you remember, I didn't put the tape under here tight because I want to be able to tuck that, turn it so I can get to it, underneath, butt it up against, trying to work at an awkward angle. There we go. So I've now tucked that under there and let it come down. I'm going to take this one here, place it onto there, that's my spacer. Take my next piece, tuck it underneath to there, and I can take that out. Now I take my scissors and I just trim off the excess. Okay, so I was going to have a wider piece at the bottom. Place that across there. So I've got it anchored top and bottom. And now I'm going to take my spacer, place that on there, take my next one, butt it up against the spacer, move the spacer up, to make sure that the texture is always uppermost. butt it up against the spacer. Take the spacer out. And my last one, okay, I'm going to, let's see, that should be fine. Place it up against the spacer and take the spacer out and press down. So there is my card that is ready, and I'm just going to get a piece of coloured paper that's going to go behind it, and we're going to go let's go for the pink, I think. Let's tidy this up for the moment. We're going to use these. So I want to be able to lay my flowers on and just see how it's going to come together. So there we have that. I've got 2 extra pieces here, so I think I'm going to put those up the top corner. Okay, so I'm going to find a piece of paper that will match these, and then we'll put the insert inside into the card. Okay, so I've got a piece of pale pink which I want to put inside there. So I take that, I flip it over because that's how I want to be able to see it. 1 piece across near the fold, 1 piece across towards the bottom, and another piece in the middle. So take those off, and without trying to get this right, I place it face down up against the crease and simply fold it down. Then I can turn it over and just trim off the excess. Got nice straight lines on the back to follow, and there is my piece completed. Now we have these left over, right? I want to know that my lily is going to go there. I'm going to have that one facing up, and this one I'm going to tuck behind it facing down. Okay, so these pieces are left over, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip those in half. And I'm going to put a piece of double-sided on each of these. Don't know if I need all 4. Yep. Yeah, right. Okay, I'm going to do a fence effect. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to do rough point on the top, not measuring, and I want it to come up just above in between here. So I'm going to place that on there. Don't worry about the bits that come off at the bottom. Trim another one. Now I'm going to use my spacer system again. Place that on there. Next one. So we've used no dies or anything. Place that one on there. I'm not measuring the height, it's a picket fence, so fine. So now I don't really think I want to put one on there. I can do. Let's use it up. So there's my last one onto there. Take your scissors and just trim off the excess. Right, I'm going for my large piece here. You don't have to worry about where you're gluing because you've got acetate behind. Okay, so I'm going to place that on there. My stem is going to be upright. That's going to go onto there. And I think we're going to have a greeting that is just hovering. Okay, so that one I want pointing upwards. And this one I want to tuck underneath there for that to come down. I've been making a lot of funeral flowers and I've been hand making all the lilies to go into them, so I'm well into lilies at the moment. Right. Okay, I'm going to have a look at what greetings I've got. There's a nice pale pink. Let's see if I've got other pink ones. There we are. A little note just because. Okay, a little note just because. And that's going to just hover in the centre. There we go. So, beautiful looking card, and just from a 6-inch square card, or 15 centimetres, and a few odd scraps. So let's have a look. There's the one we've done using the extra bits for a little picket fence along the bottom. This is the one that we did. We've just added a bit of backing paper across the top and a piece inside. Okay, a couple of bits of decoupage. If we come to this one, this is another one that I've used the extra bits to make the little picket fence, and some paper across the top. Okay. This one has got the strips down the side, and this is without. Okay, so anything goes. Back to the first one, right, and we've got no extra backing paper on the front of this one. I've put the flowers all up in a nice curve. Greeting is floating, and I haven't put the inside in yet. Okay, so anything goes from your stash. I've just seen this one that I got out earlier, and imagine if you had your card there and you go for little pots all along the bottom. So it doesn't have to be odd bits at the side, but there are a few ideas for you. All right, but that is a lattice card. So have a go and have fun, and God bless you all.